Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer J. Raffler, and I am your host for the Sol2Soul Global Summit. Learn the truth about our sun, how it heals us, supports our spiritual evolution, and more. Today, we have a very interesting guest, Mr. Wayne Purdin. Wayne Purdin is the lead editor at Grand Canyon University and the author of several books. He has been involved in various spiritual movements for almost 50 years and has always been interested in alternative healing. When he was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia in 2003, he began searching for a cure that didn't involve radiation and chemotherapy. In 2005, he found Sungazing, taught by Hira Ratan Manek, and noticed an immediate improvement in his emotional and mental well-being. After several months of regular twice-daily Sungazing, his white blood cell count was close to normal and has remained stable ever since, even after discontinuing Sungazing. Wayne lives with his wife, Julie, in Glendale, Arizona. They have two lovely and wise daughters and are looking forward to a healthy retirement in the city of the sun. Please give a very warm welcome to Wayne Purdin. Hi, Wayne. How are you?
Thank you for the introduction.
Absolutely, my pleasure. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I just went on my sun-gazing walk. I combine walking exercise and sun-gazing as I walk westward toward the setting sun. And it's very windy here today, and since we're surrounded by a desert, the air was filled with dirt. So when I came back, I had to wash my mouth out.
You really got grounded.
Otherwise, I'm fine.
Okay. Beautiful. So I was wondering if you could just start from day one, I guess the diagnosis of CLL.
Well, I'll start earlier than that.
Okay, even better.
Yeah, I had always been afraid of the sun ever since I was 9 and foolishly looked at the sun through a telescope, and it scarred the retina of my right eye. But I was able to overcome that fear after I was diagnosed with CLL because I had a greater fear of dying of cancer. So I was diagnosed in June of 2003, and during that same month, I heard a talk about various alternative healing techniques, including sun gazing, in which the sun's rays were called a healing elixir.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tried it for a few weeks, but because I didn't know what I was doing, my old fear of the sun caused me to stop sun gazing.
Sure.
About a year. And during that year, I tried several other alternative healing techniques. And at one point, I was taking 45 different herbs and supplement remedies. And I had my blood tested once a month during that time, and none of these other techniques lowered my white blood cell count. Someone told me about safe sun gazing taught by Hira Ratan Manek, or HRM,
Yep.
from India. And around the same time, I read a story about an Indian man who healed himself of leukemia by sun gazing. So I decided to try it again using HRM's method, in which you gaze for 10 seconds at the sun, the setting sun or the rising sun, during safe hours, which is 1 hour after between sunrise and 1 hour after, or between 1 hour before sunset and sunset.
Mm-hmm.
So I gradually added 10 seconds a day for about a year and a half until I got up to 45 minutes of sun gazing a day. dividing it between sunrise and sunset. It is about 22 minutes at sunrise, 22 at sunset.
Gotcha.
And during that time, as I was building up my sungazing time, I continued having blood tests, and I noticed the level steadily decline, white blood cell count. And at one point, it was around 9,000, and the normal range is between 4,500 and 11,000.
Okay.
And it did go up slightly after that to about 14,000, but this was back in probably 2009, and it has remained at that level since. And my oncologist said, she didn't say I was in remission. She just said, "You're stable."
You're stable.
I've remained stable for about 9 years.
Okay.
In 2010, I said, "Well, I'm healed, pretty much, so I guess I don't need the sundays anymore." But recently, I was contacted by a longtime sungazer who's been sungazing since the 1970s. And Tom Reese is his name.
Tom Reese.
He reminded me of another important reason to sungaze besides self-healing, and that is the healing of the planet.
Oh, wow.
He belonged to a church that rediscovered the ancient sungazing techniques used by the Essenes community in Egypt and Israel.
Okay, okay.
And the main reason why they sungazed was to heal the planet.
Amazing.
And what they would do is while sungazing, they would send positive prayers and feelings or emotions toward the sun, and ask that these would be multiplied and then reflected back through the sun's rays to everyone.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
So that's what I've been doing the last couple of months since Tom contacted me.
So these other alternative modalities that you were trying to heal your CLL, none of them help to reduce your white blood cell count, correct?
They helped a little bit, but not as much as sungazing.
Okay. Are you continuing any of those other therapies at this time?
Well, what I am continuing, what I did immediately after I was diagnosed is I stopped eating sugar and other junk food.
Mm-hmm.
And I just ate healthy food, vegetables, fruits, no red meat.
Mm-hmm.
And I've continued that ever since 2003.
Okay.
I think that also has helped a good diet. I'm not taking any special herbal remedies or supplements.
And then in our correspondence, you mentioned that with CLL, not only do you have a superabundance of the white blood cells, but they don't function. They don't do their job. They don't fight off infection. Is that correct?
That's usually the case. But in my case, even though my white blood cell count has increased, and supposedly some of them are supposed to be ineffective, I find that I hardly ever get sick. I hardly ever get a cold.
So,
the last time I had a cold was maybe 5 years ago.
So as far as you're aware, your immune system is fine.
It's more than fine.
Yeah.
Super immune system.
Okay, perfect. That's just beautiful. So you met HRM, correct?
Yeah, I met him at the Roar what was it called? It's a raw food gathering that was in Sedona. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure if they still have it, but around 2006, he was at the Raw Food Festival. That's what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
And the raw food is like HRM because he says raw food is just one step toward an inedia, or being able to live on sunlight only. And he claimed to have lived without food since 1995. I'm not sure if he's still living on sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a featured speaker there. And after the lecture, I told him I'd like you to come to Phoenix, and I set up some lectures at different churches where you can talk about sungazing.
Mm-hmm.
So he spoke at about half a dozen or 7 places around Phoenix. At one place, there were probably 100 people at the Changing Hands bookstore. And then he came back again in 2007 and 2008. And I again helped with arranging lectures for him in Phoenix and also Tucson and Sedona, Flagstaff.
Okay. So he has a pretty strong following in the Phoenix area then.
I'm not sure. I know in San Diego there's a lot of sun gazers.
I forgot to mention, you used to live in Texas prior to your diagnosis, correct?
That's when I was diagnosed in Austin, Texas,
Okay. And then you made the decision to move to Arizona.
mainly because of the sunlight.
Okay. So is the sun better in Arizona or is it less trees?
Well, we get about probably around 330 days of sunlight,
Okay.
sunny days a year,
Okay.
more than any other city.
That's why it's called the City of the Sun.
Uh,
And how were your family members, your wife and your two daughters? Were they okay with this at first?
with my sun gazing.
With you moving, relocating the whole family from
Well,
Texas to Arizona?
wife was gung ho because her parents and 2 of her sisters lived there. So he was, I think that was her main reason for coming
Okay.
here, not the sun. Although she did join me in the sun gazing.
And then the results that you had, it was well worth the move.
Yeah, I tell people who live up in Washington State or some northern state who only get to sun gaze a few days out of the year, they should move
Yeah,
to Arizona.
that would be nice, right?
You know, people think it's too hot here, but you really don't notice the heat.
What do you think about sun gazing on a cloudy day, for example, and just visualizing the sun is there and receiving the rays that way? The power of intention is so strong. Do you think that would be helpful to people that live in those areas where they do not have almost 365 days of sunlight?
Yeah, I've done that myself in some of the few cloudy days here in
Yeah.
Phoenix. And I think there's something to the idea that you still get some benefit, not as much as the full sunlight.
Hmm. But better than nothing, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And this healing that you were talking about earlier, where you're healing the earth, you're sun gazing with the intention to heal the earth. Could you elaborate a little bit more about that? And what was the person that got you started in that? I forgot his name you mentioned earlier in the interview.
Tom Reese.
Reese, is that R-E?
R-E-E-S.
Okay.
He actually reminded me of something that I had written in my book, The Solution. And I had a chapter about the Essenes, and in that chapter I explained the main reason why they sun gaze was to heal the planet. And I had forgotten that, and Tom reminded me. And what I'm doing now is I'm combining another technique while I'm sun gazing.
Okay. And what technique is that?
The technique is called Ho'oponopono.
Oh, perfect. Very familiar. Very familiar.
So
Beautiful.
Ho'oponopono mantra while I'm sun gazing.
Oh,
then
that's just beautiful.
I pray that the energies be multiplied a trillion times a trillion, reflected back to bless me.
Thank you for doing that. And thank you for letting everybody else know about this opportunity to heal the earth.
Yeah, I hope more people start doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because this planet really needs it right now.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes. So, Wayne, do you have anything else that you would like to add to this interview in regards to sun gazing or any of your experiences in the past with the sun?
Yeah, I've found that most people are afraid to sun gaze because they think that it will damage their eyesight. But my eyesight actually became better. Around 2008, I had my eyes examined. I told the optician that when I was 9 years old, I looked at the sun through a telescope and scarred my right retina. So he examined my right retina and he said, I don't see any scar tissue. So the sun gazing had healed my right retina. And every year I had my eyes examined, and my eyesight not only didn't get worse, but it actually improved during those years. So I would say to people who are afraid damaging their eyes by sun gazing that your eyes will not get damaged, but they'll actually improve.
Another added bonus of sun gazing.
Right.
So when you sun gaze, do you have your glasses on or do you have them off?
That's one of the rules. You have to have your eyeglasses off and you're preferably barefoot.
Alrighty. So contacts should be removed as well then, I would assume.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I wear contacts and I believe there's a UV filter in my contacts.
Contacts and eyeglasses. So
yeah. Okay.
Protection.
Great. Well, thank you so much for all this information and your amazing healing story. And that is just great that you have remained stable, like with your white blood cell count for so many years. And on top of that, you hardly ever get sick.
My oncologist said I'll probably die of a heart attack before I die of my sleep.
Oh, here
I intend to live to be over 100.
Well, yes, that's the latest thing. He's claiming that longevity is part of one of the benefits of sun gazing.
Yeah, I'm 70 years old and I look 50.
I think he's in his 80s now, no?
HRM?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in his 80s.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, so he's promoting sun gazing to give you extra longevity on top of healing and healing the earth, I assume. So many benefits.
Yeah, it's really wonderful technique. And I think everyone should try it.
Yes, it is. It's easy. It's free. No guru to follow.
That's what HRM says.
Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. And many, 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 many years of continued sun gazing to you, because our earth does need it, just like you said.
And thanks for putting on that conference.
My pleasure. Thank you, Wayne, again.
And thank you.
Bye, everybody.